Commander Hyansik stood in the control room of Kepler Station and watched death approach through the wide windows. The enemy ships hung in space like dark clouds, blocking out the stars. Each ship was the size of a small moon, covered in strange tubes and tanks that glowed with sickly green light. The Vorth Empire had found them 3 days ago. Since then, they had been releasing poison after poison into the air around the station. The first cloud killed 200 Altarian soldiers in minutes. The second wave took down the entire Nexus engineering unit. The third attack made even the tough Kragian warriors fall to their knees, gasping for air that burned their lungs. "Sir, we have another breach in Sector 7, reported Captain Jamin, the leader of the human forces on the station. His face was pale, but determined. "The Vorth just released something new. It looks like red mist this time." Hyansik nodded grimly. He had commanded mixed species forces for 10 years, but he had never seen anything like this. The Vorth did not use laser guns or missiles. They did not need to. Their weapons were alive. Growing and spreading through the air like invisible death, Dr. Sa-Young hurried into the control room. Her medical uniform stained with the strange colors of alien blood. "Commander, I need to report on the casualties," she said, her voice tired but steady. "We lost another 50 Altarians in the last hour. The Nexus units are completely gone now. Their metal bodies just dissolved when the acid mist touched them." "About our people?" Jamin asked, referring to the humans on the station. "That is the strange part," So-Young replied, pulling up data on her tablet. "The humans are getting sick, but they are not dying like the others. We have 47 humans, still alive out of the original 50. The other species. ... double quotes. She paused and looked at the numbers. "We started with 800 coalition forces. Now we have 63 left alive." Hyansik felt a cold weight in his stomach. In 3 days, they had lost almost everyone. The station, which had been a busy research outpost full of scientists and soldiers from 12 different worlds, now felt like a tomb. Engineer Dong-Ho came running into the room, his tools still in his hands. "Commander, the main power is failing," he said, breathing hard. "The Vorth weapons are eating through our metal walls. The station hull is getting weaker every hour." Through the windows, they could see more Vorth ships arriving. Different, carrying new types of biological weapons. Some ships had tentacles that moved in the vacuum of space. Others pulsed with light like giant hearts. "Sir," called out young Kite from his position at the communications station. "The Vorth are sending us a message." The main screen flickered to life, showing a creature that looked like a cross between a jellyfish and a tree. Its voice was like wind through dead leaves when it spoke. "Weak ones of the Coalition," the Vorth commander said. "You have seen our power. Your strongest warriors lie dead. Your smartest minds have been dissolved. Your machines have been eaten by our children. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick." Hyansik stepped forward. "This is Commander Hyansik of the Galactic Defense Coalition. We do not surrender to murderers." The Vorth creature made a sound that might have been laughter. "You call us murderers, but we are only farmers. We grow life. We harvest death. Your species are weak because you fight against nature. We are strong because we are nature." "What do you want?" Hyansik demanded. "The system belongs to us now. Your research station sits on our new garden world, where you will leave or you will become fertilizer for what we will grow here." The screen went dark. In the silence that followed, they could hear the station groaning as more of its structure was eaten away by the biological weapons. J-Min looked at the tactical display. "Commander, we have maybe 6 hours of life support left in the safe areas. After that, the Vorth weapons will reach the core sections." Sa-Young was checking her medical scanner. "The air quality is getting worse every minute. Even the humans are starting to show signs of poisoning now. Headaches, nausea, trouble breathing." Dong-Ho was working on his tablet, trying to find solutions in the station's databases. "I have been studying the Vorth weapons," he said. "These are not machines or chemicals. They are living creatures. Tiny ones that eat metal, and bigger ones that produce poison gas. The Vorth have turned their entire biology into weapons." Kite was monitoring the enemy fleet movements. More ships just arrived, he reported. I count 37 Vorth vessels now. They are moving into attack formation. Hyansik looked around at his remaining people. Jamin was a good soldier, steady. Under pressure, Svalyung was brilliant and brave, working to save lives even when there seemed to be no hope. Dong Ho was creative, always finding new ways to solve problems. Kite was young but eager to help. Options? Hyansik asked. We could try to evacuate, Jamin suggested. Get to the escape pods and make a run for it. The Vorth would hunt. Us down, Dong Ho said. Their ships are faster than our pods. We could send a distress signal, Kite offered. The nearest coalition fleet is 6 days away, Soyoung pointed out. We do not have 6 hours, let alone 6 days. Outside the windows, the Vorth ships began to move closer. New clouds of biological weapons started to form around them, ready to be released. Some clouds sparkled like deadly snow. Others moved like liquid fire. Hyansik made his decision. Fight, he said simply. We cannot run. We cannot hide. We cannot call for help. So we fight with what we have, Sir Jamin said carefully. What exactly do we have? Our weapons barely scratch their ships. Our defenses cannot stop their biological attacks. Most of our people are already dead. We have something they do not expect, Hyansik replied, though he was not sure what that might be. We are still alive when we should be dead. There must be a reason for that. A Vorth commander appeared on the screen again. You have 1 hour to decide, it said. Surrender or die. Those are your only choices. As the screen went dark again, Hyansik looked at his small team of survivors. They were tired, scared, and running out of time. But they were still breathing, still thinking, still fighting. Maybe that would be enough. Maybe it would have to be. Dr. Soyoung worked in the medical bay, while death crawled through the walls around her. The Vorth biological weapons had eaten through most of the station's outer hull. Strange growths covered the corridors like colorful mold. Some of them pulsed. With their own light, others made soft clicking sounds as they spread. She had been running tests on blood samples for 6 hours straight. Her eyes burned from staring at the microscope, but she could not stop. Something important was hiding in the data, and she was close to finding it. Computer, show me human blood sample number 15, she said to the medical scanner. The screen lit up with tiny moving pictures. Under the microscope, human blood cells looked like small round ships floating in a Red Sea. But these blood cells were different from the samples she had taken yesterday. They were bigger, stronger, and they moved in patterns she had never seen before. Compare this to Altarian blood sample number 3. The screen split in half. On the left side, the human blood cells swam around like busy fish. On the right side, the Altarian blood cells floated like dead leaves. Most of them were not moving at all. Soyoung frowned and leaned closer. Computer, highlight the Vorth toxin particles in both samples. Tiny green dots appeared on both sides of the screen. In the Altarian blood, the green dots were eating the blood cells like acid. But in the human blood, something incredible was happening. The blood cells were surrounding the green dots and swallowing them whole. That is impossible, Soyoung whispered. She ran the test again with blood from engineer Dong Ho. It's the same thing. Happened. The human blood cells were not just fighting the Vorth toxins. They were eating them and getting stronger. Meanwhile, 3 levels down, Dong Ho was having his own strange discovery. He had been trying to fix the station's defense systems. When he found something interesting in the computer files, Kita, come look at this, he called to the young communications officer. Kidashte left his post and walked over to Dong Ho's workstation. The engineer had dozens of files open on his screen, all of them showing pictures of strange creatures. Am I looking at Kitse asked. These are the Vorth biological weapons, Dong Ho explained. But look at this. He pointed to a file labeled Origin Data. The Vorth did not make these weapons. They found them. Kite squinted at the screen. The pictures showed alien creatures that looked like nothing he had ever seen. Some were shaped like flowers with teeth. Others looked like worms covered in spikes. All of them were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. According to this data, These creatures come from the Vorth home world, Dong-ho continued. The Vorth have been collecting them for thousands of years. They keep them in special containers and use them as weapons against their enemies. So they are like attack animals, Kite asked. Not exactly, look at this part. Dong-ho opened another file. The Vorth are terrified of these creatures. On their home world, these things are the top predators. They eat everything, including other Vorth. The only way the Vorth can handle them is by keeping them in special containers that the creatures cannot break out of. Kite felt a chill run down his back. So they are using their own worst nightmares as weapons against us. Exactly. It has worked on every species the Vorth have ever fought, until now. Up in the control room, Captain Jamin was dealing with a new crisis. The station's food replicators had stopped working an hour ago. The Vorth weapons had eaten through the power cables that fed the machines. Commander, he reported to Hyan-sik, we have a food problem. The replicators are down, and our emergency supplies were destroyed when Sector 4 was breached. Hyan-sik looked tired. He had not slept in 3 days, and the stress was showing on his face. How long can we last without food? Maybe 2 days, sir? 3, if we are lucky. So we will die of hunger before the Vorth weapons kill us, Hyun-sik said with bitter humor. Young Kite came running into the control room, his face excited despite their desperate situation. Commander, you need to see what Dong-ho found, he said breathlessly. 5 minutes later, the entire surviving team was gathered around Dong-ho's computer station. The engineer explained what he had discovered about the Vorth biological weapons. They are not weapons, he concluded. They are wild animals from the Vorth home world. The Vorth have been using their own monsters to fight their wars. Dr. Soyoung looked thoughtful. That explains what I found in the blood samples, she said. The human immune system is adapting to these creatures in real time. It is treating them like a new type of infection and learning how to fight them.
Oh.
Why are humans different? Jamin asked. Why are we not dying like the other species? Soyoung pulled out her tablet and showed them her test results. I think it has to do with Earth's evolution, she said. Humans evolved on a world with millions of different life forms. Our immune systems learned to handle everything from deadly mushrooms to poisonous snakes. We can eat things that would kill most other species. I mean, we are naturally resistant. 2 biological weapons? Kite asked, his eyes wide. More than resistant, Soyoung replied. Our bodies are actually learning from these creatures. Each time we are exposed to a new Vorth weapon, our immune systems figure out how to process it. Commander Hyan-sik was quiet for a long moment, thinking. So human biology is more adaptable than Vorth biology? It seems that way, sir, Soyoung confirmed. Dong-ho was looking at his screen again. Commander, I found something else. The station's research lab has samples of these creatures. Living samples. The scientists were studying them before the attack. Where? Hyan-sik asked. Storage Bay 12. There are dozens of containers down there, all sealed and labeled. Creatures inside are still alive. Jamin looked confused. Why does that matter? Those things are deadly. Maybe not to us. Soyoung said slowly. She was staring at her blood test results with a strange expression. If human biology can adapt to these creatures, and if these creatures are essentially concentrated life forms from an alien world, you think we could eat them? Kite asked, shocked. I think Soyoung said carefully that what is poison to the Vorth might be food to humans. The room fell silent. Outside the windows, the Vorth ships moved closer, ready to release their final attack. Inside the station, 5 humans looked at each other and realized they might have just found something impossible, something that could change everything. The journey to Storage Bay 12 felt like walking through a nightmare. Commander Hyan-sik led the way, followed by Captain Jamin, Dr. Soyoung, Engineer Dong-ho, and Kite. The corridors of Kepler Station had become alien territory. Strange growths covered the walls like living carpet. Some of them were bright purple and smelled like rotting fruit. Others were silver and made tiny singing sounds as the humans passed by. The Vorth biological weapons had turned their home into something from another world. Stay close together, Hyan-sik whispered. Do not touch anything unless you have to. They moved carefully through the damaged sections of the station. Emergency lights flickered on and off, casting moving shadows that looked like monsters. The air was thick and hard to breathe. It tasted of metal and something sweet that made their stomachs turn. Kite stumbled over a piece of broken metal and caught himself against the wall. His hand touched one of the purple growths by accident. The growth pulsed with light and made a sound like a cat purring. "Are you okay?" So Young asked, scanning him with her medical device. "I think so," Kite replied, looking at his hand. The skin where he had touched the growth was slightly red, but it did not hurt. "It feels warm, like touching a heater." "Your body temperature is normal," So Young reported, looking surprised. "Whatever that thing is, it did not poison you." They continued down the corridor. Behind them, they could hear the Vorth weapons spreading through the station like a slow tide. Metal groaned as it was dissolved. Glass cracked as new growths pushed through the walls. Storage Bay 12 was in the deepest part of the station, where the research scientists had kept their most dangerous specimens. The door was made of thick metal and covered with warning signs in 12 different languages. All of them said the same thing: danger, lethal organisms, authorized personnel. Only Dong Ho worked on the door controls while the others watched the corridor behind them. "The lock system is damaged," he said, sweat running down his face. "The Vorth weapons have been eating the electronic circuits." "How long?" Jamin asked. "Give me 5 minutes." They did not have 5 minutes. Down the corridor they could see new Vorth weapons approaching. These looked like floating jellyfish made of light. They moved slowly but steadily toward the humans. Dong Ho Hyon Sik said urgently. "Almost got it," the engineer replied. Sparks flew from the door controls as he rewired the circuits. There, the door slid open with a loud grinding sound. The room beyond was dark and cold as they stepped. Inside, automatic lights flickered on, revealing what looked like a museum of horrors. The storage bay was filled with glass containers of every size and shape. Each container held something alive and moving. Some creatures looked like flowers that opened and closed their petals. Others were like snakes made of liquid fire. In the largest container, something that looked like a small dragon swam through bright blue water. "These are the specimens the scientists were studying," So Young said, reading the labels on the containers. "All of them came from worlds that the Vorth have conquered." Kite walked over to a small container near the back of the room. Inside, a creature about the size of his fist was floating in clear liquid. It looked like a mix between a fruit and a sea animal. Skin was smooth and changed colors from green to gold to deep red. "This one does not look so scary," he said. Dong-Ho checked his tablet. According to the research files, that creature killed an entire Altarian research team in 30 seconds. Its skin produces a toxin that stops the heart instantly. "What?" "It is so small," Kite said, staring at the peaceful-looking creature. So Young was reading through more research files on her device. "Look at these test results," she said, her voice filled with wonder. The scientists tested these creatures on volunteers from every species in the coalition. Every single test subject died within minutes. She showed them videos on her tablet. The recordings were hard to watch. Brave volunteers from a dozen different worlds had tried to help science by exposing themselves to tiny amounts of the creatures. All of them had died in agony, their bodies unable to handle the alien toxins. The Altarians lasted the longest, So Young continued. Their advanced immune systems kept them alive for almost 10 minutes. The Krogians, who can survive in the vacuum of space, died in less than 3 minutes. Jamin looked around the room full of deadly creatures. "Do you think we can eat these things?" "I think," So Young said carefully, "that human biology might process them differently. Our blood tests show that we are already adapting to the Vorth weapons. These creatures are just concentrated versions of the same biological systems." Outside the storage room, they could hear the floating jellyfish weapons getting closer. The creatures made soft whistling sounds as they moved through the corridors. Hyon Sik looked at his team.
"Hey."
They were the last humans alive on the station. In a few hours, the Vorth would release their final attack and finish what they had started. There was nowhere to run and no one coming to save them. "The way I see it," he said, "we have 2 choices. We can hide in here and wait to die slowly, Or we can try something that has never been tried before. You mean eat one of these things? Kite asked, looking at the small fruit-like creature in its container. The research shows that these creatures are basically concentrated nutrition, Dong-ho said, reading from his tablet. They have to be, or they could not survive on their home worlds. The toxins are probably just their defense system. So-young nodded. Like poisonous plants on Earth, many of them are actually very nutritious if you can get past the toxins. But what if we are wrong? Jamin asked. What if human biology is not different enough? Then we die, Hyansik said simply. We're going to die anyway. At least this way we might learn something useful. Keats was still staring at the small creature in its container. It seemed to be looking back at him with tiny black eyes. If I'm going to die, he said quietly, I would rather die trying to save my friends than hiding in a corner. The whistling sounds were getting louder. Vorth weapons had found the storage bay. Someone needs to volunteer, Hyansik said. Someone needs to be the first to try. Without hesitation, Kite stepped forward. I will do it. Kite, no. So-young protested. You are too young. Kite replied. That means I have the strongest immune system. If anyone can survive this, it should be me. He reached for the container with the fruit-like creature. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. If this works, he said, then we might have a chance. If it does not work, then at least you will know not to try it yourselves. The door to the storage bay began to glow as the Vorth, weapons pressed against it from outside. Key-Te opened the container. Kite held the small creature in his hands. It felt warm and soft, like holding a ripe peach. The creature's skin changed colors slowly from green to gold as it sensed his touch. Its tiny black eyes looked up at him without fear. Are you sure about this? Dr. So-young asked one last time. She had her medical scanner ready to record everything that happened. No, Kite replied honestly, but I am going to do it anyway. The others stepped back to a safe distance, just in case something terrible happened. Commander Hyansik watched through the security cameras to document the moment. Captain Jamin had his weapon ready, though they all knew it would be useless. If things went wrong, Engineer Dong-ho was recording everything on his tablet. The research files say death usually happens within 30 seconds, he said quietly. The toxins attack the nervous system first, then the heart, then the lungs. Kite nodded and lifted the creature to his mouth. It smelled like flowers and something else he could not identify. Something wild and alien, but not unpleasant. Here goes nothing, he whispered, and took a bite. The creature's flesh was soft and juicy, like biting into a strange fruit. The taste was sweet at first, then became hot and spicy, like the strongest pepper he had ever eaten. His mouth began to burn and his eyes watered. How do you feel? So-young asked. Her scanner pointed at him. Like I just ate fire, Kite gasped, but he was still standing. My mouth is burning, but I am okay. 30 seconds passed. Kite was still alive. The creature's flesh slid down his throat, leaving a trail of heat behind it. His stomach began to feel warm, then hot, then like it was full of molten metal. But the pain was manageable, like eating food that was too spicy rather than like being poisoned. 1 minute, Dong-ho announced, staring at his timer. Key-Te was sweating now. But his vital signs on So-young's scanner were stable. His heart was beating fast, but regularly. His breathing was quick, but steady. The toxins should have killed him by now, So-young said in amazement. According to the research, even the strongest Kragan warriors died within 40 seconds. Maybe human stomachs are different, Jamin suggested. 2 minutes, Dong-ho called out. Something strange was happening to Kite. The burning sensation in his stomach was fading, replaced by a warm, pleasant feeling. He felt like he had just eaten a large, satisfying meal after being hungry for days. I feel good, he said, surprised. Really good? Like I just had the best meal of my life. So-young checked her scanner again. His blood sugar is perfect. His immune system is more active than normal, but in a healthy way. And look at this. She showed the others her screen. His muscle density just increased by 5%. What does that mean? Hyansik asked. It means he got stronger, replied, her voice full of wonder. Ki-Tae flexed his arms and looked surprised. I do feel stronger and more awake. Like I just had the best sleep of my life and drank 10 cups of coffee. Outside the storage bay, the Vorth weapons had stopped, trying to break down the door. Through the security cameras, they could see the floating jellyfish creatures hovering in the corridor, motionless. It was as if they were waiting for something. 3 minutes, Dong-ho announced. Ki-Tae, you should be dead 3 times over. By now, instead, Ki-Tae looked better than he had in days. His skin had a healthy glow, and his eyes were bright and alert. The creature he had eaten was gone, completely digested by his human stomach. I want to try one too, Jamin said suddenly. Wait, So-young protested. We should study Ki-Tae's blood first. Make sure there are no delayed effects. We do not have time, Hyeon-sik pointed out. The Vorth are going to attack again soon. If this works, we need to know now. Jamin picked up a different container, this one holding a creature that looked like a small octopus made of crystal. According to the label, it had killed an entire Nexus research team in 15 seconds. This one is supposed to be even more deadly, he said. Jamin, do not do this, So-young pleaded. But Jamin had already opened the container and lifted the crystal octopus to his mouth. He bit down on one of its tentacles. The creature dissolved on his tongue like candy made of electricity. The effect was immediate and intense. Jamin's whole body began to glow with a soft blue light. He doubled over as waves of energy coursed through him, but after a minute, he straightened up with a huge smile on his face. That was incredible, he said. I feel like I could lift the entire station. So-young quickly scanned him with her medical device. His strength just doubled, she reported, and his reflexes are 50% faster than normal. Dong-ho was staring at the research files on his tablet. This is impossible, he muttered. These creatures have killed thousands of beings from dozens of species. How are humans different? Maybe. We are not different, So-young said thoughtfully. Maybe we are just better at adapting. Humans evolved on Earth with millions of different plants and animals. We learned to eat things that would kill other species. Poisonous mushrooms, toxic fish, plants that burn your mouth. You think our stomachs can handle anything? Ki-Tae asked. I think So-young replied that human digestive systems are the most adaptable in the galaxy. We can process almost any organic matter and turn it into nutrition. Hyeon-sik looked at the dozens of containers around the room. Each one held a different creature, each one capable of killing entire armies. But to humans, they might be something else entirely. Food, he said quietly. They are not weapons to us. They are food. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the station. The main screen in the storage bay flickered to life, showing the Vorth fleet outside. But something had changed. The alien ships were moving in panic, their formations breaking apart. Commander, came a voice over the communications system. It was the Vorth leader, but now it sounded afraid. What have you done? Our sensors show impossible readings from your station. Hyeon-sik smiled and activated the communications system. We had lunch, he said simply. The silence that followed was filled with terror. The next hour changed everything. One by one, the remaining humans tried different creatures from the research containers. Each alien organism that had been designed by evolution to kill became food for the human digestive system. Dr. So-young chose a creature that looked like a floating flower made of liquid metal. The research files said it produced acid strong enough to dissolve starship hulls. When she ate it, her body absorbed the metals and strengthened her bones until they were nearly unbreakable. Engineer Dong-ho tried something that resembled a glowing worm. It was supposed to attack the nervous system and cause madness within seconds. Instead, it enhanced his brain function until he could process information faster than the station's computers. Commander Hyeon-sik selected a creature that looked like a tiny dragon breathing miniature flames. The files warned that its internal temperature could melt steel. When he consumed it, his body temperature regulation became perfect, allowing him to survive in any environment. This is incredible, So-young said, studying the blood samples from all 5 humans. Each creature is providing different benefits. It is like they are biological enhancement supplements designed specifically for human metabolism.
Ow.
The changes were remarkable. Kite could now lift metal beams that would normally require machinery. Jamin moved so fast he seemed to blur when he walked. Dong-ho was solving mathematical equations in his head that would challenge supercomputers. I understand now, So-young continued, looking at her scanner readings. These creatures evolved on worlds where they had to be incredibly efficient to survive. They packed maximum nutrition and energy into their biological systems. The toxins were just their way of protecting that nutrition from predators. But why do they poison other species and not humans? Hyansik asked. He was testing his new abilities by lifting containers that should have been too heavy for 10 people to move. Because humans evolved differently, So-young explained. Most species in the galaxy evolved on worlds with limited biodiversity. Their digestive systems are specialized for specific types of food. But Earth had millions of different life forms. Humans had to learn to eat everything or starve. She pulled up data on her tablet showing human evolutionary history. Humans ate poisonous plants and learned to cook them until they were safe. We ate toxic fish and learned to prepare them properly, even ate spoiled meat and developed immune systems that could handle dangerous bacteria. So we are like the ultimate omnivores, Kite said, easily bending a steel pipe with his enhanced strength. More than that, So-young replied, your biological processors. Our stomachs can break down almost any organic compound and extract nutrition from it. Our immune systems can adapt to new threats in real time. Our bodies can take what should be poison and turn it into fuel. Outside the station, the Vorth fleet was in chaos. Their sensors were showing impossible readings from Kepler Station. The humans were not dying from the biological weapons. We're getting stronger. Dong-ho, with his enhanced brain function, is now able to understand the Vorth communication frequencies. I can hear what they are saying to each other, he reported. They are calling us the Devourers and the ones who eat death. What else are they saying? Hyansik asked. They are scared, Dong-ho replied. Really scared? They are asking each other how it is possible for any species to consume their sacred death-bringers and survive. Kite had found more containers in the back of the storage room. These held larger creatures, some as big as house cats. Should we try the bigger ones? He asked. Carefully, Hyansik replied. We do not want to make ourselves sick by eating too much too fast. But their enhanced human digestive systems seemed capable of handling much more than normal. Kite tried a creature that looked like a crab made of living electricity. It enhanced his reflexes until he could dodge laser beams. Jamin consumed something that resembled a swimming flower and gained the ability to see in perfect darkness. The Vorth are retreating, Dong-ho announced, monitoring their communications. Some of their ships are leaving the system. Because they think we are monsters, Dong-ho replied. In their culture, these creatures are like demons. They are the most feared things in the Vorth universe. We are eating them like snacks. Through the station's external cameras, they could see Vorth ships pulling back from their attack formations. Some of the smaller vessels were already jumping to hyperspace, fleeing the system as fast as their engines could carry them. They are calling for reinforcements, Dong-ho reported. But the other Vorth ships are refusing to come. Word is spreading through their fleet that humans can eat their death weapons and become stronger. Hyansik felt a plan forming in his enhanced mind. How many more creatures are in this storage bay? Right. So-young counted the containers. At least 200 different species? Maybe more? And each one makes us stronger in a different way? It seems that way, yes. Hyansik smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just realized he was at the top of the food chain. Then I think it is time to show the Vorth what humans are really capable of, he said. Kite, how do you feel about taking a walk outside the station? Kite, now strong enough to punch through steel and fast enough to dodge bullets, grinned back at his commander. I thought you would never ask. The Vorth had brought their worst nightmares to use as weapons against the humans. They were about to discover that they had just given their enemies the greatest gift in the galaxy, a buffet of evolutionary advantages that would make humans into something the universe had never seen before. The hunters were about to become the hunted. They did not even know it yet. Kite floated in the vacuum of space outside Kepler Station, wearing only a basic spacesuit. The creatures he had consumed had changed his body in ways that seemed impossible. He no longer needed much oxygen. His blood had adapted to the cold of space, and his enhanced muscles could propel him faster than most shuttlecraft through his suit's communication system. He could hear the panicked voices of the Vorth fleet. Thanks to Dongho's enhanced brain power, the human team had cracked their encryption codes in minutes. The Death Eater is outside their station, one Vorth captain was saying. It moves like it owns the void of space. How is that possible? Another voice replied. No organic being can survive in vacuum without massive life support. The humans are not organic as we understand it, came a third voice, filled with terror. They are something else, something that should not exist. Kite smiled inside his helmet and activated his suit's external speakers. Hello, Vorth Empire, he said calmly. Thank you for the wonderful meal. You have any more of those delicious creatures you would like to share? The response was immediate chaos. Half the Vorth ships began charging their weapons, while the other half started powering up their hyperspace engines to flee. Back inside the station, the other enhanced humans were monitoring the situation. Commander Hyan-Sik had consumed 3 more creatures and could now survive direct hits from energy weapons. Captain Jamin had eaten something that made his reflexes so fast he could catch bullets in his bare hands. Tay, Hyan-Sik said over. The radio, collect some of those biological weapon containers they have been firing at us. I want to try their fresh specimens. On my way, Commander. Kite moved through space toward the nearest Vorth ship like a human-shaped missile. The ship tried to target him with its defense systems, but he was moving too fast and changing direction too quickly. In seconds, he reached the vessel's hull. The Vorth ship was covered in organic pods containing their biological weapons. Kite simply tore them off the hull with his enhanced strength and began eating the contents directly. Each new creature made him stronger, faster, and more capable. Inside the Vorth ship, alarms were screaming. The crew watched their external cameras in horror as a single human consumed their most deadly weapons like they were pieces of candy. Captain, one of the Vorth officers said, his voice shaking, the human just ate a nightmare crawler. That creature can kill 1,000 of our warriors in minutes. And how does the human look? The captain asked. Stronger, sir. It appears to be glowing with some kind of internal energy. Kite finished clearing the biological weapons from the first ship and moved to the second. This one tried to flee, but he was faster than their engines. He caught up to it and began systematically consuming every biological weapon they carried. The other Vorth ships were broadcasting emergency signals throughout their empire. This is Fleet Commander Zethver, came a voice over their communications. We are facing an impossible enemy. The humans do not die from our sacred Deathbringers. They eat them and become more powerful. Impossible, replied a voice from the Vorth homeworld. The Deathbringers are the ultimate weapons. They have never failed. Come and see for yourself, Zethver challenged. But bring more ships. Many more ships. I do not think it will matter. Inside Kepler Station, Dr. Saw-Young was making another incredible discovery. The creatures are communicating with each other through our digestive systems, she announced. Each time we eat a new one, it shares information with the others inside. Us. What kind of information? Dun-Ho asked. Everything. Their biological memories, their evolutionary advantages, their survival techniques. We are not just gaining their individual abilities. We are gaining access to millions of years of evolutionary knowledge from hundreds of different worlds. The implications were staggering. Humans were becoming living libraries of biological information from across the galaxy. Each new creature, consumed, added to their collective knowledge and capabilities. Commander Hyan-Sik opened the station's communications to broadcast on all frequencies. Attention, Vorth Empire, he said. This is Commander Hyan-Sik of the Galactic Defense Coalition. We want to thank you for your generous donation of biological enhancement materials. Enhancement materials? Came the horrified reply from the Vorth Fleet commander. Yes. Hyan-Sik continued pleasantly. Your Deathbringers, as you call them, are quite nutritious. We especially enjoyed the ones that were supposed to dissolve our bones. They made our skeletons much stronger instead. There was a long silence from the Vorth fleet. "We demand you stop this abomination," the Vorth commander finally said. "Those are sacred creatures from our homeworld. They are not meant to be consumed." "Everything is meant to be consumed by something," Hyansik replied. "You've just never met the right predator before, until now." Kite's voice came over the radio. "Commander, I have collected samples from 12 different ships. The Vorth have some really interesting specimens out here. There is one that looks like a singing crystal, and another that appears to be made of liquid starlight. Bring them back," Hyansik ordered. "We can share them with the team." The psychological effect on the Vorth was devastating. Their entire military philosophy was based on biological superiority. They conquered other species by unleashing creatures that no one else could handle. But humans were not just handling these creatures, they were turning them into advantages. "Sir," Dong-ho said, monitoring Vorth communications. 3 more fleet groups just refused to respond to calls for reinforcements. Word is spreading that humans are unkillable and that fighting us just makes us stronger." "What about their main command ship?" Jamin asked. "It is powering up to leave the system," Dong-ho replied. "But wait, I am getting a new transmission." The main screen lit up with the image of the Vorth Emperor himself. The alien ruler looked like a cross between a tree and a nightmare, but now his usual arrogance was replaced by something that looked like fear. "Humans of Kepler Station," the Emperor said, his voice trembling. "We wish to discuss terms." "Terms?" Hyansik replied. "You attacked us. You tried to kill us with your biological weapons. Now you want to negotiate. We were unaware of your nature," the Emperor admitted. "We did not know that the Deathbringers would serve as nourishment for your species." "This changes everything." "Yes, it does," Hyansik agreed. "Here are our terms. You will withdraw all your forces from Coalition. Space immediately. You will provide us with detailed information about all your biological specimens so we can study them properly. And you will never again use biological weapons against any species." "And if we refuse?" the Emperor asked. Hyansik smiled. "Then we will come to your homeworld and eat everything you consider sacred and deadly. And trust me, after what we have consumed today, your homeworld defenses will not be a problem for us." The Emperor was quiet for a long moment around him. His advisors were whispering urgently in their alien language. "We accept your terms," he finally said. The war that had lasted for months ended in that instant. Not with a great battle or a clever strategy, but with the simple fact that humans could eat what no one else could eat. Ki-Te returned to the station carrying containers full of new creatures to try. The enhanced humans gathered around their feast, ready to discover what other evolutionary advantages the universe had to offer them. They had learned something important about their place in the galaxy. They were not just another species struggling to survive. They were the ultimate adapters, capable of turning any challenge into an opportunity. The Vorth had brought them death, and the humans had turned it into dinner. In doing so, they had become something the galaxy had never seen before, species that could eat its way to the top of any food chain, and they were still hungry.